Celebrity Book Club.
I can feel your heart pound beating like a kick drum.
My client today is my dream kind of client. He's a tech billionaire. He just sold his company to the Chinese for $7.5 billion. He has 6 houses in Singapore, Portland, San Viejo, and Cairo, but he doesn't have a place in downtown LA. So he's looking for a place in the hills, bachelor, unmarried, no girlfriend, no ring. Basically the perfect client. And I'm so excited to meet him.
Hey, what's up, Christine?
Hi, thank you so much for coming to 64789 Doheny Boulevard Way.
Yeah, thank you so much. My assistant sent the listing over, and I have about 3 minutes, so let's see it. As you know, I'm a bachelor. I've been spending my time right now between the Borgos Islands and the Scandinavian headquarters. I do need a place in LA, and I'm getting a little bit tired of just like my rental in the Borgos Islands.
I love that. Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time. I know you're definitely looking for somewhere to lay your head down, but also party a little bit. Is that right? You seem like a total partier.
Yeah, I do pretty well for myself.
Well, come right this way. So here is what I call the main hall. It has 6 islands. This house has 11.5 bedrooms. It has matching his and his closets in the primary, or his and hers, or hers and hers, or whatever you are interested in. It has 17 drop-down screens in the bathroom.
Do you know what the pixels are? Pixel capability are on the drop-down screens?
I'm pretty sure it's 1,700.
Is that room for upgrades?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, Christina, I love how knowledgeable you are about this home.
I do my homework. That's what I always say. I do my homework.
What's the neighborhood like, and do I have capability on building on these 90-degree slope-down dirt mountains that the house is built on?
So you are cleared for clearance up to 19 feet of building space. So if you wanted to put in a helipad or a skydiving tube...
That would be dope.
Yeah, that's totally an option. We can get that going for you. I want to show you to the pool table, which is also a car, and there's a hot tub inside. That can seat one, and you can actually lock the door to the hot tub for security purposes.
And is the leather on the hot tub, is that eel leather?
I believe it is. Yes, it's imported eel, and so all the eel is actually imported from Japan every morning.
Are you guys open to having solar panels on the eel?
We can totally look into that. So that actually, it's a town ordinance, and so I will have to talk to the City Municipal Solar Commission about that, but I'm pretty sure we can make that work. Jason and I will get together, we'll put our heads together, we'll do our homework, and we'll make that happen if that's what you need to happen.
So I leave for Tokyo actually in 2 minutes, but just a few more questions that I have. I guess I wonder the tonkatsu granite that's being used. It's pretty old-fashioned.
So that's actually a super easy fix. So if you want, we could go and we could get Himalayan limestone. We can get Cayman coral. And I think actually that would look really, really nice floor to ceiling behind the wine dungeon.
I don't drink.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't drink wine, yeah. I only drink this, awesome new oxygen blood.
Oh, you know what's funny is actually one of my other clients, who of course I'm not working with anymore because I'm only working with you, he turned what was a wine cellar in a previous home into a blood dungeon. So you could do that if you needed. And we'd be happy to facilitate that. And I can actually draw up plans and show you blueprints tomorrow at a reference meeting at 8 a.m.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, if you want to meet me in Japan, or we could also do it a phone call, that would be okay too, but I do like doing things in person. Since there isn't the blood dungeon built yet, and I haven't seen the plans, I would go in at 5.2. I don't know if you have any leeway on that.
I think that we could definitely try to make that work, and I could maybe come in at a hard 7 and see what the seller says. I think he's extremely motivated due to legal reasons, so we would be happy. I want to get your head on this pillow. And I want to get you in here because I know that you're a bachelor and you really can't.
I haven't slept in 7 years.
No, and I think that it's time to get you out of the Tortuga rental.
All right, my helicopter is actually lifting off. But I'll talk to you tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Thanks
Tokyo
so much.
time.
Do
You're awesome. You're awesome, Christine. You're a stellar chick.
Nailed it!
Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill.
It's Hollywood.
It's books.
It's gossip.
I'm shook.
It's memoirs.
It's martinis.
It's Studio 54.
It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in. I brought the Cuervo.
Hey, best friend!
Hey, you freaking boss lady bitch.
Hey, you badass executive diva matriarch bitch.
I will never tear you down because I don't tear women down. I built them up.
I built up women and I do not apologize.
I do want a Louis Vuitton purse. Let's just get into it. I'm sorry. No time to waste when you're a boss bitch. This week we read On the Beach, Yes, Henny, because I take vacations to make money.
We are always working, no days off, because we are the baddest executive boss diva matriarch creative boss bitches in the house, right? I'm talking about none other than Los Angeles realtor, actress, brand mogul,
Samsung brand
Samsung ambassador,
Christine Quinn of Selling Sunset and Samsung Brass ambassadoring.
Samsung Brass is really high up in the Samsung ladder.
She's in the Brass League of Entrepreneurial Ambassadors.
And her book is called How to Be a Boss Bitch.
With bitch starred out. Because this book does need to be sold in Walmart.
Sold at Walmart and Barnes & Noble.
And Amazon and Target.
Yeah, and wherever books are sold.
Absolutely. So check it out.
Stop apologizing for who you are and get the life you want.
Hell yes.
This book.
This book.
This book was written in 5 minutes.
It's almost like this book was written 5 minutes ago. Because in like chapter 3, she's already referencing like a Britney Spears Instagram post that I was like, that happened yesterday. I was like,
the way you're reading this book, and I'm just like, is somebody coming in here and like editing this as I'm reading it?
It felt very like 90s kids get this, like some sort of magic marker where you can like erase it and write in. I was like, and
it's terrifyingly recent because she references like season 5 of Selling Sunset, which like just came out.
Yeah, and she's like, when me and Amanza were fighting, like, turns the cameras off. We were just having fun. You're like, that episode came out 2 weeks ago.
I do think, okay, so there's not a ton of Selling Sunset gossip in this book.
No. So the whole thing was like her and Chriselle, like, being enemies. And also, but she was the enemy of everyone last season.
Yeah, she's the villain of the show. And there's only one reference to Chriselle in this book where she was like, she's very just like, money and friendship go together like oil and water, or me and Chriselle. Or like there's like some sort of like
dig at her and like
silly aside joke.
Dig at Mary, because like they were actually friends, but then like Mary started tearing her down.
I mean, the lack of tea in this book is kind of astounding.
Yeah, and that would be I feel like we're skipping it, but that would be my complaint, is the lack of tea about Selling Sunset. And most of her tea is like, so then I met a man named Jason Oppenheim.
Yeah.
And we had coffee. And like, it was more tea about like how she started out with the Oppenheim group and how she would volunteer to do open houses and how you actually don't get paid.
Yeah, I guess that was the biggest tea. And that she was always like bringing cupcakes, and Jason was just like, well, why are you doing that? We don't need to do that. And she was just like, we don't need to, but this is going to make an impression.
And then it did, I guess.
And then it did, and it worked. And like also in the beginning when she like wanted to know like how to like actually do real estate, and Jason was being like, you don't need to do that.
Oh yeah, and she
was like a legal team. And she was like, wait, I want to like learn like about like the numbers and stuff. He was like, you literally don't need to do that. Like all you have to do is just be this like hot slut who like meets people at houses. And she was like,
no. So I asked Mary in sales and accounting, and she handed over the paperwork for me. And we went through it line by line by line.
So it sounds like there was maybe like 2 days then where she was like with Mary from accounting.
Yeah, they
like
were like
learning like how to like process an escrow fee.
But Okay.
And then went back to being like, okay, cool, now I like don't have to do this. And I'm sure like it is helpful to know all that. And like Jason was gatekeeping and was
I
being,
think Jason was
no,
gatekeeping
he is being
because
this obnoxious, just like insane Napoleon complex, like little man.
because Maya on Selling Sunset and
The Silent of the Lamb.
I mean, Maya was like the best character and is so insane and is always like, she's kind of the me. And
Wait,
let's
you're
get
not
to-
the Maya of Selling Sunset.
Okay, I'm also. Let me tell you why I think I'm the Maya, but I'm not full Maya. I'm not saying I'm full Maya. I'm also like Heather. I'm also a little bit of a Manza.
I mean, we're both Amanza because we're both being late.
And just be like, these heels, I thrifted them.
And they're all being just kind of like, it's weird that she's poor, but
Yeah,
like
I
we're
know.
still friends with her. And like that is so cute.
Yeah, and they're like all at desks being like, wait, where is Amanza? And they're like, she's literally at court. It's so sad. And they're like, and Christina's like, yeah, if only she cared about real estate, then she'd be at this empty open house on a dirt mountain and wouldn't be like getting custody of her kids.
Ugh, they're always on the show, also like always at literally a pile of dirt. And they're just like, so this is actually 45 million. And there's just like so much glass and cement
So much
coming
more
out of a pile of
construction.
dirt. And it's just like building this 13-bedroom house, like, and yet all the bedrooms are just like there's like, no rooms and no walls. And like,
Right, because it's like Selling Sunset has made now all these like their dirt mountains have houses like so your infinity pool is just like going to another
dirt pile infinity pool.
Can I just say something? I'm not kind of scared of infinity pools. I've never been in one.
Thank
but...
you for this vulnerability.
Anyway, what I was saying is the reason
is it
why
the sort of the concept of forever that scares you, or just like you're gonna fall off the edge?
I'm falling off the edge, and the concept that forever is not forever.
The mortality of the infinity pool.
Okay, so let's get into the beginning. Basically, Christine is saying her biggest struggle is having ADD, and maybe that's why I'm the Christine. And you're like, oh,
Wait,
I didn't know this is an ADD, like, struggle rise up book.
She's so vague about her struggle.
One of the Vegas.
And this really comes back to her arc in season 5, which is like, so season 5 is all about how like everyone hates Christine and she's the villain, but like actually she cries and she's vulnerable, and like the new like Latin girl takes her to that like life coach.
Yeah.
And then
like,
she like cries to the life coach and is like, and I just have things in my past that like make me vulnerable. And then in the book, she keeps being like, and like, we didn't always have like so much, but she'll be like, we weren't
didn't have
super
clothes.
poor.
Yeah, it's very like, no, it is.
But we weren't super rich.
It's like middle
Middle
class
class boots?
stuff. Yeah.
Like-
She was like, what's the word for this? We weren't, she was like, no, we like always had like clothes and food and like
But like, my mom knew how to stretch leftovers. And like, you're waiting for something more specific. Like, you're waiting for like, I don't know, the abuse. You're waiting for just like the like weird tragic death in
And
the
she was
family.
like-
You're waiting for like something, like some crazy like asshole who, you know, it's like, but then like nothing.
the weirdest
happens.
thing that is like the tragedy is like it sounds like her mom is like chronically ill in maybe like a mental way of like thinking she like Munchausen's herself. She's like, my mom always had rheumatoid arthritis and like headaches and then breast cancer twice and then like
Yeah.
something and like was always sick. So like I did get to go spend time at my best friend's house who was the daughter of the Radio Shack CEO.
That part.
She's like, so girl, you best believe, yeah, she was dripping in Bentleys and diamonds. The guy who literally invented, what's the Radio Shack?
You've got questions, we've got answers.
She's like, the guy who literally invented You've Got Questions, We've Had Answers. And it was like, I feel like the CEO didn't.
So
that was an advertising company.
we briefly talked about this on the beach, and let's get into it
Okay.
because there's part of me that thinks that the CEO of Radio Shack actually
Okay,
did
yeah,
come
let's
up with
get
it.
into the Radio Shack part.
Because obviously today, it's like, but even today, sometimes the client, as I say this as someone who works in branding and advertising, you go to the client with your best lines and your best ideas, and the client always thinks they're
Of
a
course,
genius.
they're like, no, what about this? And he's swiveling around in the hugest leather Dallas office.
The way that the chairs in that Dallas, at the Radio Shack Dallas HQ, were just like so tufted in brass,
Huge brass.
like rivets all over them. Headrest. Huge
Headrest.
headrest.
But it was like new 90s swivel.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't,
heavy.
but still a little bit foam because it's Radio
It's
Shack.
Radio
I feel like
Shack.
When
Yeah.
I used to go to Radio
It's almost
Shack.
like a gamer chair.
Yeah, I used to go to Radio Shack about every weekend with my dad for bibs and bobs and whatever he needed there.
Just bits and bobs at Radio Shack with Dad.
Yeah.
Dads love to grab some bits and bobs.
I mean, yeah, TBT. And two horrible triggering stories from my childhood. And this is like the level of Christine's trauma is this story. My dad bought me a light up landline phone for my bedroom that when it rang, it like a bunch of different
Wait.
colors showed up like a sign.
in just like the most
Simon.
iconic like 90s sleepover way.
Yes. And it was
just
like,
like-
you got to call it neon green, neon
Just
yellow,
like
neon red.
dream teen phone.
Yeah. And then, and I was flipping out, so excited. 2 weeks later, no note, no nothing. The phone is gone from my bedroom.
What?
I'm about to cry right now. And I'm like, what? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? And he just goes, I returned it. And I'm like, and I was not one to throw tantrums, okay?
Wait, that's
I
so
fucked.
cruel.
Yeah.
Like needlessly cruel.
And he said the reason why he returned it is because the lights hurt his eyes. And I'm like, bitch, you don't live in my room.
Yeah, you don't live in my room and you're not answering the phone all the time.
As you know, though, my room had those windows into the staircase,
Yeah.
but I covered them with posters.
Yeah, so you weren't really seeing it, but it was like
I'll
even-
throw up in the Patreon blueprints of my childhood condo, but... And he had a light sensitivity. I'm just like, so you're saying the times you walked in, it's like you were down to get me a phone. It's really a mystery, and I'll never find out.
I mean, like, there's so much you could unpack around the
Right.
psychology of this choice. Like, I think part of it is him not understanding how important it was to you, and him, like, you know, wanting like to treat you in this Scientology way, like an adult, just being like, well, like she's not supposed to like care about little lights and light up stuff like that, and like, you know,
Like, grow up.
grow up.
Oh, like if you can have a landline, maybe you don't need bright lights.
Right.
He did hate bright lights.
And
Sunglasses
he is
inside.
very like, you know, grow up a little bit. Like, and you know, when he was trying to style you when later, and he was just like,
wear thin belts.
wear thin belts, and like. Which was like I feel like an adult thing. And then also, you know, maybe a little bit of it was he was jealous
of the
how
phone.
popular you were. Because the phone was because what did the lights represent?
Friends.
Yes.
Well, but I didn't have my own line. It was just everyone who called.
But often like that
It would have been like
was
you,
me.
Nicole Way, maybe my friend Meredith from elementary school.
Right. And it's just like you were a micro celebrity even then.
Right. So I was getting these calls. So yeah, and that is the exact type of thing that basically Christine says is what her struggles were in childhood. She says her parents were so strict and she never got anything, but she just means like they didn't get her McDonald's.
Like McDonald's and like the dream phone. But that's also all childhoods and like and totally, and that is traumatizing, and everyone's childhood is traumatizing, and like I'll say that till the cows come home. But it is just like you keep waiting for the drop, and like the drop is just not there.
Because then she's like, I wasn't even allowed to have friends. And then she mentions like literally going to New York with her Radio Shack friend, like hanging out.
Oh, when they go to like the Waldorf Astoria for the first time.
Yeah.
Did you have a first like iconic hotel? Because basically this book is kind of about her like having champagne tastes like
Right,
on,
and it's just,
on a
like-
beer budget or whatever. and like there's so many. The book is insanely repetitive, and she keeps every section has every chapter is called like how to be a bitch, and then every chapter has a section called like get bitchy, like get bitchier, and like you'll
And
be
then
like
like pussy power and like how to use your pussy
I felt
power
like I
to
was
be
always
a
like
bitch.
in the bitch section, and then there was like a new sub get even bitchier section. I was like, I thought I was already in
And
the
then
like
she
sub
keeps on
bitch
doing
section.
this thing in the book where she goes, and she's like, so when I was 18 and I was a bartender and I was dating, I did love her use, and I do want to do this more. The way she names people is it's always Mr. something something.
Right, there's Mr.
Valentino is
Valentino.
her first sugar daddy, and then there was Mr.
Going
Going nowhere,
nowhere.
drinking Coors Light on the couch.
Yeah, I need to serve her to Max's more in that
Right.
sense.
Mr. Going Nowhere, like
Ooh, honey, I can think of some names for those boys.
And that will be available on Patreon. And then she'll be like, and yeah, more tea on that in a later chapter. And you're kind of like, we're here now. Why not?
Yeah, we're here now. Let's get to it. And she keeps me like, more on that later. And it's like, this book is only like 172 pages.
So we could do it now.
We could just get there. Okay, but my question to you is, so she goes to this hotel with her friend, who's the daughter of the CEO of Radio
And
Shack.
they go to the Waldorf Astoria, and then they go to Bergdorf's.
And what was your? It doesn't have to be your first iconic
I know
hotel. Okay, go. What was it?
As a quote-unquote middle-class child, my parents were renovating their kitchen. And we were getting a granite island.
A modest. Granite. Let's just say it was a modest.
It was
island.
a modest, not a huge island, and everyone else I knew had an island already, okay? That was my struggles. We were finally getting an island. And, the construction, it took a turn where they were like, you actually can't stay here tonight. So we went to the Sheraton Commander in Harvard Square. And my parents said, this is also boss bitch stuff where it's like upgrades, points guy.
Right.
Use your mouth and elevate your boss bitch status. They said, can we get a room? We're houseless, basically, at this point.
We are an unhoused Cambridge family experiencing renovation. We are actively experiencing renovation.
And are between homes, are between islands and closed galley kitchen with kind of a window and old-timey cabinets and new cabinets. And they said to us, well, actually, the only room we have available is the presidential suite. But we're going to give it to you for the same price as a regular room because that's all we have. Yes!
Oh, my God. That's so exciting.
Chilling. And so it's like, I saw the deal happen,
Right.
experienced it, but it wasn't just like, oh, you get a presidential suite. It was about how hotels have to make these deals with people. And it was
instilling a lifelong love of deals.
fully insane, full living room, dining room.
that's
It was the first time I saw
incredible.
chocolate on a bed.
Wow.
And then that was also the first time I had fried shrimp because the next day I just wandered into a random room. and I think that not like a hotel room, like a conference
Sort
room.
of banquet conference.
Yeah,
area.
and clearly someone was having a meeting and they had served fried shrimp with cocktail sauce. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my life.
Sorry. So this wasn't like a buffet. This was like someone's leftover plate.
No. It was in between both. It was the people hadn't gotten there. It was like a bowl
Family style. On a table?
on a table, clearly ready for a meeting of sorts.
So it was supposed to be like an hors d'oeuvre, like a high top table
Yes.
almost. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, that's not weird to steal from that. No. That's so cool.
It was really cool. Or maybe it was just VIP and it was fried
The way
shrimp,
that this hotel
Fridays.
stay is your and my entire personality is just presidential suite hotel,
Hotel
wandering
shrimp.
into a empty banquet hall and taking shrimp.
It's nothing has changed.
Wow. And so from that moment on, you were like, this is luxury, this is what I want, and this is going to inspire me to work hard and get what
Work
I want
hard
and be a boss bitch.
And absolutely get what I want. And also learn that you can get elevated. You can get rewards. Yeah. And that's why I use Capital One. Let's hear your hotel go.
Hotels in my childhood, I always remember actually hotels being kind of like an unhappy time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have some of those also. Yeah.
And it was always...
Because you're staying with your
You're
parents.
staying with your parents, and then it's always the rollaway, when they call into reception, can we get the rollaway for our younger child? It wasn't luxury, it wasn't fabulous. And it was there was there's the rent-a-car. Everything was so mandatory. I think the first big luxury hotel I can remember was staying at this hotel in Cusco in Peru. Have you been?
No.
When I climbed the Inca Trail when I was 12, which was
Damn.
truly one of the most insane things to take a 12-year-old on.
Yeah, I can't believe you climbed the trail at 12.
Yeah, just a 5-day trek with Sherpas. But before, we stayed at this insane luxury hotel that was in a former monastery in Cusco. And I remember being okay, low-key, this is fab. Yes, I'm on a weird mandatory family vacation and I will be hiking. And I'm just why are we doing this? And my brother was being so annoying and I just read about communism or whatever and being
God.
Mom, this is actually so
Before-
capitalist. And it's like fucked up because like this is actually like used to be a monastery or whatever. And I was just being like, again, I'm getting fab vibes from this place. And like one day when I am a grown up, like I do want to be fab in a place like this.
And you're like, I'm not going to be like mad at monasteries. No, give it back to the monks.
And then later in life, like 2 years ago, as you might remember, I stayed in that hotel, the Kempinski, in Hamburg. And I was like, I am a boss bitch. I've earned my money. Like, I deserve at age, like, 32 to stay at a nice hotel in Hamburg.
And I'm sure it was cheaper than the room we stayed in Atlantic City, which you'll be hearing about
on the VIP lounge. When we talk about our fabulous trip and all of the iconic eateries we went to and the country music concert that we saw at the Hard Rock Hotel and Cafe.
and our stay at Haraz. Just a note about this book of like her being like boss bitch. It's like we're kind of at the tail end of boss bitch culture.
I mean, that's what was so weird about this book, where it's like this book is insanely repetitive and like bland, and like so much of it is just her being like, women should stop apologizing. It's like, I've heard that like 30 times, like in the past 30. It's like Lean In came out like a million years ago.
Blake Lively said it in A Simple Favor that came out also like 5 years ago.
Like the idea that just like, it's just so like Reese Witherspoon book club, like what if women told their own stories? Like what if women stopped apologizing?
Instead of sending a text that said, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it.
What if you just said, I can't make it?
I mean... You say that, but I also...
No, I know. We all need to learn that lesson. And, like, sometimes, like, we all are still being, like, the apologetic
so sorry.
girl. And,
like, I'm so sorry I can't make it. Or, like, I'm so sorry this is 5 minutes late. I'm so sorry I'm just responding. But it just needed in a book?
Yeah.
Not needed. It's like, if Home Goods... Because she's so champagne tastes. I'm in the Maldives. The fact that it's, like, we're so boss-to-bitched clearance section TJ Maxx mugs.
Yeah.
I would expect someone like Christine, who's supposedly like cutting edge, to like.
But she's not. That's just her like her business feminist philosophy. I think is obviously pretty basic.
I'll say this.
Even if she's wearing Balenciaga.
Right. Like I heard about the acquiring of this book, and when someone told me what the title was, I thought like it was a joke because it's so obvious.
Right.
But it just is the
that.
title. One of my favorite lines in the book is when her hubby, Christian, who she manifested and is like a total nerd, was like convincing her that like, telling her that like she is more than just the show Selling Sunset.
Oh, wait, is this the part where he says, when Christian and I met, I had one season of the show under my belt, and I found myself stuck in a Selling Sunset bubble. It was easy to get sucked into the stress of getting key scenes, wondering how the producers would portray me, and taking the drama way too seriously. I talked to Christian about it, and he said to me, "You're on the show, but you are not the show. You're a top producing real estate agent. You have a makeup line and shoe collection, and you're a brand ambassador for fucking Samsung. You're more than a show."
I screamed and clapped.
You're a brand ambassador for fucking Samsung.
Oh, and by the way, her husband, Christian, I didn't realize he started Seamless.
Okay, well, but the way that she said
she phrases that is so weird. She's like, oh, by the way, Christian, my husband,
okay,
he's going to say the reason you have food delivery apps.
No, okay, so the subchapter title is, how the hell did Christian retire at 37? First sentence, my husband is the reason we have food delivery apps today! Exclamation point. And you're like, okay.
Christian, she said, was like that they're like total nerds, like talking about their relationship. She's like, okay, finally, I know you guys want the juicy, juicy, juicy details about me and Christian's relationship. So she fully Joaned from Girlfriends, did the 3-month rule.
Did not have sex on the first date. And she says, do not have sex on the first date if you want to keep a man. And she's like, and I'm pro, and then the next subchapter. But I'm pro one night stands,
yes.
like if that's what you want. But like if you want a husband, you can't have sex on the first date and they won't be your husband.
And she's like, one of my best friends who's a total hoe bag. But it sounded like they literally did not
have sex for 3 months, which is so psycho.
Crazy. She's like, he invited me to Aspen. And I was like, unless you're getting me another room, I'm not going. And he did it. And she was like, yeah, he was so... Because when Christine brought him on the show and was like, this is my husband, it was like, I was like, oh, so like you did get like a fully like ugly rich husband.
Yeah, and like good for you. And
yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I bet he has like a nice like 6.5 thick cock. like when she brought him on the show because he came out of nowhere and it was like, and now I have my billionaire husband.
Right.
And I was like, well, he must have like something. But not having sex for 3 months makes me think that he doesn't have a big dick. Because like, I don't think a guy with like a huge dick would like not have sex for 3 months.
It also seems like if you're not having sex with someone for 3 months, like you're not like she was fine holding out for 3 months. You know, like the temptation wasn't there.
Not horny.
Yeah.
Or she's also like lying. And like it's for the book.
Wait, hold on. This is crazy. You're saying Christine Quinn of Selling Sunset, who says she manufactures trauma, could be lying about that?
Yeah, it's, you know what I mean? Like it could have
so
been
she's
like
just
it could have been
saying-
3 weeks. Or like it was so just like there were blowjobs and anal in that 3 weeks in that 3 months.
Right. I mean, he's very anal. And just being like, oh,
She's
yes.
so anal.
And she's like, yes, honey, we put down a mink towel above my like $20 million like goose caviar bed.
Right, and they have like a goose anal room, and it's like, I feel like
Goose anal.
She's so the kind of girl who's like, I'm sorry, it actually feels better.
Yeah, and you're like, I really just don't believe you. Sorry, my bootay just is magic.
But
Because what feels better is getting the Bentley after anal. You know what I'm talking about, girls.
hell yes, ladies, and there's no shame in that.
Celebrity Book Club.
Can we get back to the boss bitch languages and like just
Yes.
tell me who you are?
Okay.
Okay, so the 5 boss bitch languages are. So there's this quiz in the book, which actually, like, I will say is a pretty accurate quiz.
And it's pretty fun.
And it's fun to do, and you should do it with a friend. We did it on the beach with our friend.
Yeah, it was so silly and fun, and it has that Cosmo vibe. And, you know, my note also to this book would be more quizzes.
Yeah, this book should be all quizzes.
And also more worksheets and stuff.
So the 5 possibilities are executive boss bitch, creative boss bitch, which is like the atsy-fatsy one.
Matriarch boss.
Matriarch boss bitch, which is like you really care about like your family and friends.
But also like your employees. Because
Right.
one of the questions is like, what's the worst thing that can happen at work? And one of the possible answers you can choose is watching like your employees like get hurt.
Like physically hurt.
It's like, because I'm
It's
a
like-
foreman.
'cause I'm
It's
a
like,
foreman,
well,
yeah.
yeah, I hope this steel barrier, like, it doesn't fall on someone.
I just like the idea of like working at an office and just being like the worst thing that could happen was when just like one of the skateboards mounted on the wall like fell on Carla. Okay, wait. The third option or the fourth option is diva boss bitch, which is just like you love the limelight. And then
And like, you won't stop and you'll get everything you want.
and then fifth is
Undercover boss bitch.
which was kind of that seem a little bit of the like catch-all kind of other random stuff that you couldn't figure out like what to call it.
And then the whole like thing is like you can't do the rest of the this book without like
Knowing your
who
boss bitch like phenotype.
So,
okay. Can I just guess what you are?
Yeah.
Creative boss bitch.
That's what I was gonna think.
About yourself.
Yes.
But you weren't.
No.
Huh.
I was at a tie for matriarch and diva.
Wow.
Yeah, I really just thought I was.
I do, but that makes so much sense.
Yes,
Because you
I
do
don't
like
wanna
the
get-
spotlight, and you're so caring and nurturing, and you're such a mother hen about your flock.
I care
And you're
so much about
you're
my
so
flock.
first.
I am very flock first, like literally, like
Bros
well-
before hoes,
yeah, bros before
but in
flock.
men.
Flock before hose. Yes, that made sense. And then the one thing I, just to see, changed an answer and became fully diva, and that was because first I put MILF as my style, which is misleading because you'd think it's like I'm not a boho woodland fairy because I'm not like.
So just so our listeners can understand what
Okay.
we're talking about here. So one of the questions is my personal style can be best described as A, boardroom chic,
B, boho woodland fairy. C, MILF.
D, sexy flamboyant, head turning. E, classically understated. So I would definitely not say your style's a MILF. That's kind of.
Can I explain?
I'm wondering
Can
why
I
you said
explain?
that.
I answered MILF because in the gender reverse,
You
I'm
think you're
total
a dilf.
dad, polo chain, Tommy Bahama,
Okay. Yeah.
horny dad style.
Horny dad style.
But if I'm
yeah.
in her words, if she saw me, she would probably think I'm a boho woodland fairy
Right, because you're a hippie,
because I'm a hippie.
not a preppy, and she's a preppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anything alternative should be like, you're boho woodland fairy.
Right,
Like,
she's
you're
like-
actual freak, you're camping right now.
So, Lily, I'm going to show you this property in Silver Lake because you're a total boho, like woodland fairy,
yeah,
freaky
she's
hippie.
like, you're indie, like, you're freaky.
Yeah, garage personified.
But I like your DILF rationale. I don't know. I buy that too.
Thank you.
But I wouldn't say you're sexy, flamboyant head turning.
Well, yeah, and then I said that, and I was like, because I wear like funky tees. I don't know. I was
So wait,
really
so what the category did that answer then push you into?
well. I guess okay. If I changed it to sexy flamboyant, then I was diva. But if I
The
answered,
math lady meme right now.
yeah, I know. Whatever. If I answered B, that makes me more matriarch.
Oh, okay,
'Cause it's
because that
less
would leave you in
Bs.
more in the matriarch column. Okay, yeah, I mean, I buy that. Well, can you guess what I am?
I think you're a mix between executive and creative, but you're also diva because you love the limelight. So I think you're on the cusp of creative and diva.
I was a diva.
Okay.
I got the most for diva. And I agree, because reading it, I was like, I am an executive boss bitch. And I am so email, but
At
ultimately.
the end of the day, we're divas also
We're
because it's like
divas.
we are comedians. So every question was like, what's your favorite about work? Like being the limelight. It was like, what do you like to, like, do you want to be in a show? And we were like, yes. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of just like ultimately for us,
It's going to be diva.
the diva was what ultimately applied. And so then reading the book through that lens was so helpful.
Yes, and I wrote things down in my journal. Okay, then when you read in the book, also it just becomes this thing that all like, even though this book was written yesterday and it magically changes as days goes on to keep up with current events, just like the Suze Orman book, which is my next point about this book, it's like very still. Head to www.bluenile.com to check the price of diamonds.
Okay, wait. So that's what I wanted to say. So she's like, never pay retail for diamonds. Like, go to a GIA certified diamond wholesale dealer. GIA being the Gem Institute
Gia.
of
Oh
America.
yeah, I know, because I remember once I was like, oh my god, my sister Gia.
And I asked my friend of the pod, Arabella, who is a jewelry
Shout
designer,
out.
and I was like, oh, like, is this right? Like, do you agree with this? And she was like, absolutely never pay retail for diamonds. The markup is insane. And like, when you go to Tiffany, you're just paying for the name.
Right. And Christina's like, so I walked into Tiffany's and I said, that little thing is $125,000. And this is when she logs onto BlueNile.com and like, and looks up like sizing and cuts. And then she goes, so yeah, then I was in Van Cleef & Arpels.
Right. And then she's just like, and I wanted this $75,000 Rolex, but I was not going to pay retail. So I went on to the Real. And I really recommend the Real for getting authenticated, certified designer resale products. I want to talk for a second about real estate trends. And we've talked about this in other episodes, but I think the selling sunset aesthetic, I think, is really indicative of a current sort of where we are just in terms of the horror show of wealth right now. And
Teslas and delivery and nothing is personal and it's houses on cliff mountains.
Of dirt. And I will borrow a word from Kate Berlant on Poog.
Mm-hmm.
She used the term bloodless to describe these interiors. And it's just so accurate. Like, they are so devoid of life. And it's everything from the materials chosen to the colors chosen to the layout of the homes. Like, they're laid out like crazy offices where all you see is corners and outlets. There's like 70 outlets on every wall.
No, I was saying it's out like everything is an outlet.
And like,
Because we have to
and
be
it's
charging.
It's open plan, but there's nothing but just like staircases and beams and like pass-throughs
Well, and also,
and like step
open
downs.
plan has gone way too far.
It's gone so far because it doesn't actually feel open because you just see so many like windows and steps and doorways and like it's like there's nothing but corners. It's like it's so harsh, and then everything is just like the white walls, like the very very light beige floors or the gray floors, like the invisible kitchens where you can't see anything, and then like the quote Scandinavian, but it's not
Scandinavian.
It's not Scandinavian, honey. Okay, it's just like the IKEA throws that they're throwing in, and maybe the staging company's charging them like $6,000 to throw an IKEA throw over the table, and then like maybe they've got the West Elm brass lamps and the fucking brass everywhere. It's just so fucking ugly and office and sad.
The houses that actually like Chriselle had with her husband who broke up with her over a text.
Yeah.
Like that house was cuter.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
had
and
like
Chriselle's new house is so ugly and busted, and I hate it.
and she's like, I can't believe I got it.
And then everyone's like wedging themselves into these like uncomfortable bar stools, like under them. It's like and they're always like cramming in 6 bar stools around the
It's
island.
barstool heavy. I mean, also because it's
And it's like, and then there's the double island, which is now the big thing in all these houses.
the double. No, because remember also when like a double island like used to seem glam. Like if you
In
like,
Nancy Meyer's,
yes, you see this huge island and everyone is like gathering, and there are Chinese bowls of
And there's
lemons.
Chinese bowls of lemons, and it's like, and the islands would be somewhat different. Like one had the bar stools, but like one was more of a workspace. And now it's just like, it's almost like a weird like
Yeah, this
repeat.
soulless.
It's like
it's just a
we
slat
copy
of
pasted
like
another massive slab.
marble, and like no one is hanging out around it.
And it's Tarek and Christina, or sorry, like it's
well, also it's like
Tarek and Heather
that Tark and Heather
going to the marble space and being like, we actually we just set a record for the largest slab of Tunisian white marble, and it's just like this blank
Tark
boring
and
slab.
Heather is like a whole nother pod to get into because like to be a fly on the wall of like what they talk about, because it's like Tarek El Moussa and like Christine, their renos are like D property brothers. Like they're always just putting in one of those carports.
Yeah,
Like,
it's always
that's
a
the-
carport
yes.
and a backsplash. And she's like, what about, I really want to like push the design on this one. So I want to do this backsplash. And it's like,
The most from Lowe's,
like
just
off
like
gray backsplash.
Though
She's like,
that is a goal of mine, because in like an ASMR way, in those like Lowe's home commercials, when
you
they're
wanna
like,
just put up a backsplash?
yeah, I want to peel off and just put up a backsplash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goals.
Goals.
Well, that's your Atlantic
And I'm
Kempinski
gonna-
Hamburg
yeah,
hotel room.
I'm manifesting,
Manifest that
like putting a
backsplash.
stick-on, like
the-
cheap rental backsplash. No, the Selling Sunset, and they did it. They did it to themselves, because then it's like everyone also wants to live the Selling Sunset life. I wish I guess what I'm saying, there used to be like a romance of the LA
Yeah.
mansion of the infinity pool and the huge island and like the microwave that's also a wine fridge.
The modern, like, the modern look, as they say it, is the sort of the.
I want something that's modern.
Yeah, that's the shorthand for it in that world, and it's like that has become so awful, and now it's like, and mid-century also doesn't mean mid-century anymore. It just means
No, it
like,
just means like Wayfair.
But every now and then you see a home where that's like sad, because it's like it is a mid-century home, and this isn't like, this is part of the whole culture now, but it's like people will take a gorgeous mid-century home and then they like blandify it, and they like.
Oh well, did you see that House Hunters?
They
where
paint
it was
they paint everything white.
everything white.
I guess that there's something like about that bloodlessness that's like there's like an emptiness to the current aesthetic of wealth that like I've especially noticed on the home edit, when it's like whenever they do like
Pantry stuff.
the normal people always have way more stuff than the rich people. Do you ever notice that?
Yeah. Because one, rich people have more homes. Two, I think there's storage spaces. Two, they're not even at their homes. Like
they're not there.
They're just
They're
not
not
there. They
They're
don't
not
go to their
there.
houses. These are
They
all.
don't- yeah.
That's why all of Manhattan is owned by shell companies.
Right, and it's just like all these buildings with 8,000 floors. That have
But
no
yeah,
one in
it's
them.
like all the people in Selling Sunset, they can't even put up a photo, something little silly, and it doesn't have to be full Lily Betty Boop clock, you know.
You don't need to live in Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, which you do.
Celebrity Book Club.
Selling segments. What does she eat? What does she wear? How does she live?
Nailed it.
What does she eat? So she loves Dr. Pepper. She's
Yeah, and-
obsessed with
And she
Dr.
loves
Pepper.
fast food.
Total fast food. And obviously she
She's
loves.
trashy. She's got champagne taste and a beer badge.
But then it's just being like, Wagyu beef, Kobe beef for me, obviously. On my first day with Christian, we went to a steakhouse. Kobe beef for me, of course. Okay, the part where she and Christian, she's talking about how
she's
like,
just so Vegas and just always being like,
It's
Kobe
Vegas.
golden crusted sushi.
yeah, it's Caesars, it's truffle.
Were you
but
talking
then
about the first date when she's like,
No, I'm talking when she talks about like how like actually her relationship is, and she's like, we would rather order in Kobe beef and eat in our robes, and like this is the full how does she live, and she's like, and nerd out and read together and watch Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I mean, that's also every celebrity, but just being like...
Yeah, it's like, well, it sounds
sorry,
like...
we like Candy and Game of Thrones. It's like, yeah, so
right,
does
and you're
everyone.
like, yeah, you probably also don't like going out every night because then
called
people are like, it's Christine Quinn.
Yeah.
It's like being a celeb. Yeah, it was shot, and then like when her and Kristen are in a hotel room, she's like, we're sharing club sandwich, Dr. Pepper again. So she loves Dr. Pepper basically, and sushi.
And that's a Southern thing too, I think.
Yeah.
We're not so cinnamon forward up there. In the
Is
East
that
Coast.
what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, cinnamon.
All right, what does she wear?
Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, Louboutins.
Louboutins and Louis Vuittons.
And she tells this whole story, which I was wondering, I mean, have you ever done something like that?
The
I
bag
guess
where she...
it's very Seasons, I guess. She buys a Louis Vuitton bag and just puts it on her counter and
just to
knowing
like
she'll
look at
return.
it and then returns it, and like the gay at the Louis Vuitton store is like, there's
Water
a stain
stain.
on this. Water stain. No, you can't return it.
And then she tells this whole story about like manifesting, about how like a group of drunk guys tipped her $2,000.
Yeah.
To equal out paying for the
that was
bag.
the price of the bag. And you're kind of like, I guess, like that's kind of random.
I mean, I'm sure I've returned in my life, but I think I've only really ever like exchanged for a different size verse. I was amazing with money, but I decided to spend all my money in this one bag to look at it for 2 weeks.
And like manifest how one day
And you're
I
kind
would
of
be
like,
rich.
this story is fake.
Yeah. It's a little...
I think I'm going to call that one
It's
fake.
more just like, you bought the bag.
You bought
like,
a bag.
It's like, that's
and
what
her whole
happened.
thing is like, I'm amazing with money. And then she does get so like S&P.
Yeah, and she's like, invest. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to invest in,
But
but like,
I do TD Ameritrade.
yeah, and she opened up her first TD Ameritrade account like when she first got money. I mean, same, like, you know, I invest and it is important to just like put money away. I think for me, the best part about investing is like knowing that I can't spend that money. Because she kind of like did have my number a little bit when she was just like, and honey, like, you know, you're going to spend it all on sushi.
No, I was like, if it's in the checking, like,
It's
then
going,
it's
going
just,
to sushi and Uber. And you're just kind of like, okay, I might as well literally just be writing checks to Uber at this point.
straight up Looney Tunes checkbook. And I was thinking I should up my monthly
Contribution to your Vanguard.
Yeah.
I would like you to do that as well.
So I think I'm actually going to do that tonight.
Amazing. And everyone out there, if you're listening to this episode, up your monthly contributions or call your stockbroker and be like, I want to send you $5,000. Like,
Or set up a savings account that you can't.
that you cannot touch. A CD account is a really great. So, and that.
Do you know what the minimum on CDs are?
I'm actually not sure, and I would talk to your local bank and then also
Okay.
check with the local police about that.
How does she live? Oh, wait. Well, this story is insane.
Oh
and
wait,
I
can we
do-
just sidebar on style though? When she says that Khloe Kardashian invented hoops,
Oh, yeah. And it's like,
that was like the weirdest thing ever because she was like, yeah, like the Kardashians have, like Khloe is my favorite style. I'm like, the Kardashians like kind of don't really like Kim maybe is like iconic for her like bodysuits and like
and it's
wearing
like,
nudes.
yes. Oh, and she also was like calling out like Chloe for also being a boss bitch for Good American Jeans.
And it's like, isn't that company defunct?
I actually think
I feel like Good American's like already out of
no,
business.
a friend of ours has a pair of Good Americans.
Okay, well that kind of
No, and I
that
was shocked. I was
floored me
like,
to my core.
did you get these on Poshmark?
But when she
or-
was like, I think we can all agree Khloe Kardashian basically invented knee-high boots and hoop earrings, and I'm like that. I can't even like. That does not come to mind when I think of her at all.
hoops, it's like
That like Khloe to me like literally has like no style. She's only wearing like a workout like
that's
tankini
like all
and
the
like
whole thing of all of them is just workout
they're
clothes.
just working out.
Yeah, they
They're
invented
just, like,
big salads and beverage fridges, sure.
Yeah.
But not hoops. Have you heard of salt and pepper?
I'm just kind. It's I don't know, it's like that was
Yeah.
so crazy. It was just like, and this book was written yesterday. Like,
But
she
then,
was
and
throwing
then
words
the
together.
like paragraph before though, because this isn't her section of like how you shouldn't tear women down, and here are 4 women she loves, and they're Mindy Kaling, Khloe Kardashian, Simone Biles, and then like those people get like big explanations, and then she's like also Miranda Kerr and Lisa Rinna.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
Simone Biles and her have an Instagram relationship.
Yeah, they DM.
Yeah. And she was like, and she is such an amazing
But, like,
trailblazer for women.
Chloe also like DMs her about like mom stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, random general celebrities getting dinner.
She does. And then it's like obviously Mindy Kaling was like fanning out because Mindy Kaling is so like
Reality TV.
TV. I'm binging it.
Where are my hard pants? I haven't
Yeah.
seen them in 2 years.
Popcorn now. And then Christine was like, oh yeah, I binge Sex Life of College Girls. which I also finished.
Oh my God! Save your
Yeah.
review of that for the VIP lounge. Okay, so I'm sorry, Christine. I do like the show Selling Sunset. I think it's
Well, we
brilliant.
did. How does she live? Super quickly.
Oh.
She bought, because she manifested it, Hugh Hefner's third wife's house that she used to.
Try to sell and like didn't sell, but
And
she
this
would
was
come
so-
and bring her mail there.
That was that actually might be the craziest thing in the book. She really wanted this house, so she would bring her own mail to this house she wanted, and she would just sit with it and then bring it back home. And she was like, "You got it. Bills, Vogue, Us Weekly. I brought it." That is getting like so weird and hoarder, but I'm gonna start doing that.
But it only works if you are a realtor.
Well, I also go to houses it's made. I could just start bringing
That's
my
true.
mail to like random Upper West Side apartments.
Because that's your dream home.
I know that's things that it would have to be the dream home.
All right, I'm gonna go to my dream loft, my soundproof loft in Manhattan. Because the thing about I don't like the noise of Manhattan, but I do want the
Oh,
convenience.
move back to the suburbs. I want to live in Manhattan, but I hate noise and bodegas. Where's the nearest Kroger's? God, sheeple. Okay. Yeah, I give this book.
I'm sorry, Christine. I give this book 1.5 Louis Vuitton bags that I'm going to return and then can't return because there's a water stand on it. I'm just like, it's barely a book.
It really is, and I'm giving it 1.9 Dr. Peppers out of 5 because of the quiz and she made me laugh. She did.
I just would love if, again, it were less
More-
of a book and more quizzes.
Yeah, workbook. Again, like,
There's not
why
even
wasn't there a page that was like, what are you manifesting?
Yeah.
Bitch.
This should be a workbook. Memo to HarperCollins or whatever, like release a sequel that's just like the workbook.
Yeah, it needs another book, basically. Because, Matthew McConaughey made a workbook connected to green lights that I saw at Target.
And it's like all your write your own bumper stickers. Oh wait, who are you in the book?
Oh,
Am I the like gay who's like you can't return this? I don't think I'm. I feel like I'm
no.
really letting people.
I
return
honestly
things.
think we're both Christine because, like, we do have champagne taste on a course budget.
Or you're Christine and I'm her friend whose dad is the CEO of Radio
Oh, done.
Shack.
Yeah.
And I
like-
am like taking you to like. I mean, I took you to Anguilla. Like
done.
when we were
And I'm
teens.
and I'm just like, can you believe it? They took me to like the gift shop at Cove Castles and said, you can buy whatever you want.
You've got questions. We've got answers.
And one more thing. I am mad at Christine because the whole book is don't take down women. And then she spends a full paragraph saying that girl, the Radio Shack daughter heiress, just ended up being a waitress. And like, she didn't need to like kind of shit
she
talk
was,
her.
but then she was like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But she basically said she didn't have ambition because she
Right.
grew up
Silver
too coddled, and it was
spoon.
too silver spoon.
In my book, when I'm like, and now Steven is like a host.
Now he's just a host because he just didn't have ambition.
Yeah, sad. But there's nothing wrong with hosting.
If that's what you want to do.
Okay, well, Rockin' Time.
Yeah. Another really amazing book that I read with my best friend Lily.
This one, we really did read it next to each other, but it was really 1-page increments.
It's so hard to read with you on a beach because like I'm distracted.
We're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk. Yeah. I read most of this book today, I will say.
Same. I read, though there was a point where I was alone on the beach and read some of it. Yeah, these are crazy details. Anyway, stick around.
Next week, we will be reading I Am Not Ashamed by Barbara Payton.
Yeah, we're going old school, and we're going to have an amazing guest with us. I'll just say the name.
Ruby McCullough.
Lady Ruby McCollister.
This should be pretty exciting. So, yeah, stay subscribing to the pod.
Stay listening.
And then for more, subscribe to the VIP Lounge. We're going to be talking about our trip to Atlantic City that we just went on this weekend and all the restaurants and bars that we attended and the
country
venues.
concert.
We'll also be talking about our recent trip to Nantucket and all the restaurants and bars we went to there.
Vacation hours.
So
okay.
stay tuned for all of our Syrian cultural reviews and foodie
Put
stuff.
some sunblock on.
Go to patreon.com/CBCthepod for more. Best.
Celebrity Book Club is presented by Prologue Projects. The show is produced by Benjamin Frisch with editorial support from Leon Nafok, Andrew Parsons, and Madeline Kaplan. Our production manager is Percia Verlin. Original theme song by Stephen Phillips Horst. Artwork by Teddy Blanks at Chips NY. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review, please. I need them. And please don't forget to tell your friends and enemies about us. And don't forget, so much not forgetting, okay? Take the fish oil. Don't forget to go to patreon.com for access to the VIP Lounge, our exclusive bonus podcast.